Hi, everybody. Welcome along. And this is Jay Harvey Yin. And Jay Harvey Yin is a timeline therapist master practitioner, which means that people of that qualification do something that you're not able to do yourself. They can hack in to your subconscious past and your subconscious trauma from past generations. Welcome along, Jay.
Hi, Ray. So good to be here.
Jay, welcome along and tell me, how did you get into this whole modality? What was done for you?
Well, fundamentally, the short answer is these modalities actually work, and I've seen amazing transformations in my clients. That lights me up. So back in 2017, I made the personal decision to leave the Barbie dream life, the marriage, and then I crashed and burned, and I felt some pain. I was slowly numbing myself and disconnecting myself from my life. And this loss of identity led me to find Reiki and then timeline therapy. And the journey of personal development for myself began. And I've always been so curious as to the why. I love science. I love science and I love metaphysics. So these two modalities can combine both. And the transformations that I've seen in clients, I'm able to blend these seamlessly to get the results for my clients. Seeing them get those results is such powerful work, Ray, and it benefits not them only personally, but all the relationships in their life, their family, their colleagues, their work, and they just have such greater clarity.
Jay, I'm really, really intrigued about the subconscious. It is the part of the brain and the part of the mind that separates us from so much happiness, abundance, awesomeness, opportunities, relationships, health, everything. It is a creator of everything and a destroyer of all things if it is left unmanaged. So when you get in there to that subconscious, what experience do people have when you do that, when you reveal to them the unrevealed?
I agree with you, Ray. The subconscious mind is such a curious beast. It's responsible for 95% of all of our activities. So our conscious mind is only involved with 5%. It's crazy. So during timeline therapy, and the one thing that subconscious mind's job is to keep us safe. And it does everything to prove us right in all of our beliefs. So with timeline therapy, we go back and I speak with your subconscious mind. In fact, I tell your conscious mind to go over there and sit on the chair. And so you get to rise above. We go above, 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 so that you're not feeling the energy that comes with the root cause event. We're actually learning the lessons from the event. And through this process, we don't have to feel the pain involved with those original events, but we get to learn and recalibrate. We learn those lessons and we can bring them forth into our future. So we don't have to dwell in the past anymore.
So give me the core principles and methodologies that you use to guide people.
So basically, what we do is I get you into a relaxed state and into a state where you're willing to make the change. These things don't work unless you're willing to make the change. Once we're there, I get to relax, you get relaxed, and I will speak specifically to your unconscious mind, and I will guide you above your timeline, slowly backwards, and then there's a set of questions and you different positions where you have to be in order to safely and kindly find these lessons without feeling the emotion.
How safe is that work to do that with somebody, remotely? Because we talked earlier and you talked about the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a branch of the autonomic nervous system. Yeah, I think you mentioned the dorsal vagal, so the dorsal motor column, and so on. Then you have the ventral vagal motor column. A timeline therapist, I would think, is activating the subconscious. They really are opening up that dorsal vagal, that sympathetic nervous system that is locked, that is shut down. So um I'm very intrigued by PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, whereby literally the dorsal vagal, a little engine room, a click, a little button in the brain has just locked itself in. And what therapists do when this brain is locked in is that they try to articulate, a therapist, the psychiatrist, the psychologist will try to articulate and speak to that person. But that brain is so shut down that that person has to go back to their therapist sometimes for months, years, trying to access that. What you're saying then in your modality is that, you're going in through a different gateway. So can you navigate us through that gateway? How do you get them out of dorsal and into parasympathetic?
It's very curious, and that you mentioned PTSD. In fact, this therapy was used way back in the, I think, 80s and 90s, by now King Charles. He recommended this modality to soldiers from Afghanistan post-war to deal with their post-traumatic stress without having to feel the emotion or remember the event. It's so powerful. So before we get into the process, there's a deep questioning and a deep trust building. And as a professional practitioner, I am trained to watch for the signs, and I can tell when somebody is using their conscious brain, they're not in their parasympathetic. I watch for the reactions of the body and make sure that it's really safe. The beautiful part is that we don't have to talk like we do in talk therapy. We don't have to revisit it over and over again. And quite often, the root cause can be in a past life. It may not be trauma that belongs to you. In fact, mine with sadness, one of my own experiences was with a war, and where I was on the battlefield, and it was just so sad and so pointless. But I didn't feel that, but I had carried that emotion deep, deep, deep within my subconscious. Once I cleared that, I can use the emotion of sadness when I need to, in a resourceful way, but I don't have this negative connotation around sadness.
Yeah. So like fully immersed in what you're saying and what you're articulating here, Jay. So what you're saying is that when we are at the bottom of the autonomic ladder, dorsal vagal, shut down, absolute shutdown mode. When you walk into a room and your friend from years ago that you fell out with is there, and you have to engage with this person that you just don't talk to anymore. And rather than arguing and going into survival and running, you just feel yourself shutting down. Dorsal vagal. And then if you're in a fight or flight situation where you want to run out of the room because she's there, sympathetic nervous system. So different responses, all different branches of the autonomic nervous system. And what you're saying is that this nervous system can be generationally, through ancestral trauma, always on the lookout for danger. And the polyvagal theory states this: if your autonomic nervous system is designed to see the world as a difficult place, you are going to have a difficult life, period. If your autonomic nervous system is designed that life is good and happy and has my back, you will live an awesome life. So you're saying that with this parasympathetic nervous system and autonomic nervous system activity, you can see and watch, which is part of polyvagal theory, you can see and watch these whole facial expressions, because this is all telling what's going on in here. And then you make that a safe place. I would take it. So in doing that, then, can you give us a really great success story, like of what happened for someone else who done this work with you?
It's crazy. There's so many. The one that comes to mind is a gentleman that I worked with. He's been with me actually for a year, because now we've gone on and worked on other things in his life. But his main problem was that he couldn't get past of this relationship breakup. And so what happened is that we did the timeline therapy, and he had problems accessing, because he came from a military background, and his logical brain was taking over. But after a while of working and trusting in the process, we managed to clear those emotions from his psyche. And now he's gone from almost in every moment, every day, thinking of that relationship, which is totally unresourceful and held him back in other areas of his life, like his work life, his finances. He was jeopardizing his finances like there was no tomorrow. And also his own personal happiness. He kept sabotaging his own personal happiness. So through the timeline process and using Reiki together, we cleared the limiting beliefs. We got rid of the charge on the negative emotions, and he now goes forth with resourceful habits. We work on new habit installations. We work on strategy to handle tricky situations, and he's totally out of it. It's really beautiful to work with him now. And he went from like having zero money in the bank after a year with working with me. He's got 6 figures in cash. He's living his dream. And that's all due to the fact that we set positive goals, we get clarity, and we work together on his stories. And I am a little unrelenting. If I notice a story come back, I'll just stop the session. We will jump onto the timeline. We will clear that limiting belief right then and there. So it's gone, and we don't have to go, oh, let's do that next week. Nuh-uh. This is fast and furious and fantastic modality, which really works.
And a lot of people who you and I work with, Jay, and those people watching this now and watching you, Jay, there is no doubt that you can feel Jay's energy. You can just feel it. And I feel that, Jay. So I know you for some time now, and I really trust that energy space that you bring people into. It's a very trusting space. The problem, Jay, that you and I know with so many people who come in front of us in the work you do and the work that I do, is so many people come in front of us every single year, and 90% of them do nothing. I can never figure out why you do nothing. Anybody watching this, why they participate, they listen to the work, they see the effect it's having on other people, and they go back to watching TV. I cannot understand them. And the reason for that, and I have to correct myself when I say I cannot understand them, which is exactly what we're talking about, understanding them. So yes, I had to stand corrected, drop the neuron, got to pick it up again, just did. There you go. It means that to understand them, they are stuck in this survival sympathetic brain that says it won't work for you, and it will lie to you and tell you mistruths. So anybody who comes across this work should say one thing: what do I have to do to experience this? That should be the only end conclusion. The only end game is that. And that's what, makes the work great. So many people that we know suffer emotional pain. So yes, I get that gentleman then was suffering emotional pain, and he was seeing the world as danger. So he was separating himself from abundance, right? With people then with emotional pain, where do you bring them?
Well, it's always a case by case. And I really think that is the gift that this modality is because it's case by case. But I think that when you really need to go on a journey and learn new skills. Often these things are ingrained in us. They are habitual things. We don't even have awareness around our behaviors. Some of the breakthroughs that my clients have will be in just the questioning and going, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. And then they don't know, and they don't have someone to guide them along the way. And that's why I love the work that I do, because I get to be their cheerleader, their biggest fan. I hold space, I ask the tough questions, and I make them accountable. I believe you can't change anyone who doesn't want to be changed. And a lot of people like to blame their circumstance or their other people, family members, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we make a decision to do things that we do. You decide to watch TV and veg, or you decide to give yourself a better life. And I'm there to champion that and to give people resourceful solutions and strategies to help them manage their behaviors moving forward. It's delicious. I absolutely love it. And it's the light bulb moments that when clients message me and go, oh my God, this happened, and I didn't throw the shoe, I didn't get angry, I managed this in a healthy way, and look what happened. And when we clear that, you're right, Ray, abundance comes in because it can't help. The universe wants us to thrive. Can't help not.
I love what you said when you said it's delicious, because it is. I mean, the body just wants to live. It wants to do things. It wants to feel these new emotions. Most people carry these dorsal, vagal, sympathetic nervous system emotions, and the body hates it. And the body vomits, it spews, it gets sick, it gets ill, it gets deflated. It doesn't want to get out of bed. It doesn't want to go to work. It doesn't want to get into the relationship. It doesn't want to improve anything. And oh my God, the pain that people suffer, they cannot see the glory of what their body will do when it gets a whole new barrage and you get them out of that sympathetic system and into that parasympathetic system to see that the world is actually a safe place. It is a safe place for you. It's waiting for you, in fact, so that it can show you and prove to you while you're sitting watching this presentation that the world is saying to you, I'm a safe place. Yes, you have to be on your guard. Yes, there is a wolf in the bushes, but the whole world is not a bush. And everything and everybody's not a wolf, but you treat it as though it is. And the sad thing about that is that people actually die at the end of their day having never explored the world outside of the perceived bush with the wolf. And I think it's only in their last hours, as they take their breath and they can see the world around them, that they realize this place was not that bad. This place was always waiting for me to step outside and see that it's not all the wolf in the bush. And a lot of clients, a lot of people, a lot of our community, a lot of the world suffer emotional pain. We know that. And when you really tap in and relieve that person of that, oh, it is so liberating. What process do you bring them through for that?
Well, aside from the timeline, I just want to offer a piece of advice. So when we're in emotional pain, our response is to block it. Our natural response is to block the pain. So we have to go through the pain. We cannot bypass it. But something that I've realized and I've learned in my studies is that an emotion only takes 90 seconds to process. So I've coined this phrase a 90-second wallow. So when I notice that I'm in an emotion, I go, right, it's time to wallow, Jay. So we wallow in the emotion, we feel the emotion. It's only the negative self-talk, the stories, the limiting beliefs that keep us spiraling into the stories, and it prolongs the emotion. It's the thoughts, not the emotion. So feeling the emotion is so very important. And then clearing those negative beliefs.
As you all know, our goal at Think and Grow Education is to bring you new places, new things, new opportunities, to give you the authority, the permission, the enthusiasm, and the drive that you need to break free, to break out of your shackles, to let go of the emotional bonds that have been holding you in and keeping you down. And for that reason, our intention is to bring you masters in this field. And that's why we're happy to bring you Jay as you sit here and watch. Jay, I know you have a business. I know this is your full-time role and you do many, many things and so on and so forward. I know all of that. I know your sessions are $222. I know you've got clients who pay that, but I know that you've got something really encouraging for people within the Think and Grow community to be able to work with you. And I know that you've reduced that down to 147 for a 90-minute session. And in that 90-minute session, you bring them in. And that person, what will they come out of 90 minutes with you, Jay? Like, just give me that in a short sentence. What will they feel after that?
Lighter. The short answer is lighter. Hopefully with quite a bit more clarity and a lot more calm around what's next, what's happening for them. So they'll feel more resourceful. They'll feel more balanced. And hopefully it's fun because I'm a little bit kooky, but we'll hold space and we'll get to the bottom of what you truly want and work a plan of how to get there.
Yeah, for those people that are ready. If you're ready, if you're ready. And for the people who aren't ready, you need to be ready. So we need to ask ourselves, if we're not ready now, when are we ever going to be ready? If we're not ready now, when are we ever going to be ready? And I think to dedicate 90 minutes to see possibilities that you've never seen before, and to give yourself permission to just sit back, be guided, be led, be held accountable, to see what comes out on the far side of the emotional prison that we've created for ourselves, and that people watching this webinar, to see what's on the other side of the emotional prison that you've built around yourself. I'm telling you, when you do, and you look over the pulpit, you look over that wall of the prison you've created, you will see a whole world, a world of opportunity that has been so waiting eagerly for you to say, if I don't do this now, when am I ever going to do this? And if you're not here for no reason, there's no mistakes. There's something that brought you in here. And if you're ready, then it's here for you. And if you're not ready, then you need to ask yourself the question, when will I ever be ready? Jay, it was great having you here. People can click on the link and roll with you. And when they do, we will see that. And I can't wait to hear those amazing stories of people saying, oh my God, Jay was definitely a jaw dropper. And I know, Jay, that your work is jaw dropping. So thanks for being here with us.